What's up, guys? Today a little video I did not plan on making. So I waited, like 6 days to get this Black Ops S sniper rifle. It's a 1.77 cal in break barrel, and it has some tremendous power in it. But after a couple shots, I started hearing something rattle in the pistol grip. Turns out that this bolt right here, which is an M6 1.0 thread pitch, it's 45 millimeters long, is stripped. So the maker or the seller, retailer, whatever you want to call it, that gets them from China, they were willing to send me a replacement. But being that this part isn't stripped, I figured, okay, I'm just gonna go to Lowe's, pick up a bolt. So this is a M6 1.0, and they only had 60 mil, so I stuck it in the lathe and I milled it down. I did make it slightly longer, so maybe about three threads slightly longer, because it looked to me like whoever tried to put this in, it wasn't grabbing enough threads. The other thing I will say is I come across this. So each piece is broke on here. I'm going to use a little CA glue and put some JB Weld on it. And you might be saying, well, yeah, why don't you just fucking, send it back and get the replacement? Well, China and how things are put together. So what's the sense? I'm going to wait another 6 days to get another gun. I got to send this one back out and then hope the other one comes in good. And I'm not willing to do that. So as I go along here, I'll show you what I'm doing. But the first thing I'm going to do is, I already cleaned these bolts with some rubbing alcohol, and I'm going to be adding a little Loctite to each bolt and snug it up. Those go right here. You have a backing plate that goes in the back right there, and then you have some you have two washers and a nut with the screws, and this just goes on each side right there. Alright, so I do want to tell you guys, the trigger out of the box, it sucks on this. So while I have it apart, there's a screw here, and then there's a hole right there. You can get a screwdriver here. So if you tighten this, it's going to reduce the pull length of the trigger. I just did one turn, so you got to be careful because you don't want to make this a hair trigger. But I just screwed it in, one turn around, and it just simply looks like that from the back. All right, so we got the rails on here, and as you can see, the back plate, you got a lock washer, and then you got a nut, and I just put a drop of Loctite on each. Now where these pieces are cracked here, the CA glue kind of stuck, but I used some fast set JB Weld on both sides, as you can see. What you want to do is you want to make sure you leave that space. You can see there's like a sliding space. That's for this shroud that goes over. It's got to fit in there. You can see on this part, that's going to slide down on there. So I'm not sure if they assembled that like that from the factory, or was it from the recoil of the gun and it knocked that bolt out and something broke. But you might want to take your gun apart, clean it, some alcohol, and then like the nuts and everything, the bolts, and then do exactly what I'm doing, or you might end up with the same freaking problem. All right, so all you're gonna do is lay your barrel back in. That part butts up along the end of the stock. So after that, you're gonna stick that bolt in with some Loctite, and you're gonna, snug it up pretty good. There is one hole here for this screw down here, and lo and behold, they over tightened it, bent it, and stripped it, and it only holds that plastic shroud down. So that's where the Picatinny rail goes. The two inner are for the Picatinny, and then the very back one over there, right there, is where that screw goes. So if you look at the front part of the shroud, you have like a little lip there. That has to sit in this slot right here, and then it gets pushed forward. So you can see how that shroud is sitting there, and then it's overhanging back here. We're gonna slide that forward until it meets right there. Once you have that pushed forward, you can see how that's butted up against. You're gonna go ahead and put that screw right in that hole right there. Then you have these Allen screws here with those washers. You're gonna put the washer on, little drop of Loctite, and they're gonna go right in front of the bipod right there, and you're gonna tighten them with the Allen. One goes on each side. Make sure you clean the holes out and the screws off. They're loaded with oil. Now it's worth noting these two Allen screws that go up into the metal part. Don't over tighten them, because those washers are only sitting next to this plastic, and when you go to disassemble it, these got to come out because this is going to be really tight. The next part you're going to do, which I have to go and get a new screw because they fucked mine up again here. So you're going to put that screw back in. All right, so since I don't have one of those bolts, I'm going to move on to putting the handle on. You got 2 screws each side, just snug them because it's only plastic again. The next part you're going to do is you're going to push this bolt, this mock-up bolt through. After you got that in, you have a little washer that goes there. And then you also have a little screw that goes there. Again, I'm just putting a little drop of Loctite on just so, you know, with the recoil of this gun, it doesn't come loose and I lose it. All right, so I got a new bolt here. It's a M4.70 and it is 16 millimeter long. The original is the black one, so you can see it's definitely longer, so you're gonna have to cut that down. They don't sell a 14 mil, which is what I'm guessing. I don't know where these fucking China guys you know, get their bolts. They're probably special made for them or whatever, but it's a real pain in the fucking ass. All right, so then you're gonna put your Picatinny rail on, and again I use some Loctite and then give them a snug.